And we are live. Captain Elder, if you can give us your log, please.
You have the Stardate.
There it is.
Captain's log Stardate 54767.2. On our way to the Paulson Nebula, we had to render aid to a Tellarite trader who had come under attack by some pirates. We were able to convince them to stand down, and we've taken custody of their vessel. After taking custody of their vessel, some Nausicaan vessels started to approach, and they made, without using words, they made their hostile intent pretty clear. So we left to rendezvous with the USS Gallantry and hand off the captured ships that we have to them. In Captain's log.
And with that, we start our adventure a few hours later. As we approach deep space and rendezvous with the USS Gallantry with your two pirate vessels now. One of them under control of Lieutenant Commander Amadeus. And who was in charge of the...
Tolik.
Tolik was in charge of the Orion vessel.
Maddox was the whole name, but Tolak was the later.
Well, as you make this rendezvous with this random assortment of ships, Gallantry pulls to a stop and opens sailing frequencies.
On screen?
Well, Captain and Elder, human and male appears on the screen. Looks like you've been busy these past few weeks.
Yes, we've been encountering a lot of pirates in this area. We're glad that you could come out here to give us a hand.
Very well, but I thought we were going to wait for you at this rendezvous point. We were kind of surprised to hear that you were going to meet us halfway. Did you effect repairs that quickly?
Yes, we weren't waiting on repairs any longer. We were simply waiting for you out of convenient. But some other hostile vessels in on the area, and we decided to meet you halfway. As the larger vessel that we've brought along does not have shields.
Greetings, everyone.
Greetings, Tolek. You haven't missed much. We just got to the rendezvous with the USS Gallantry.
Perfect.
The captain nods. Very well. Well, what assistance do you need from us? As we are just dropping off supplies at the New Providence colony.
I need you to escort these two vessels that I've brought along back to safety. They, especially the larger vessel, as it has people that we are going to press charges against. I'll also send you the charges.
Very well. I suppose we can do that. And what will you be doing in the meantime?
I think we're going to go back hunting those vessels that approached us hostilely.
Very well, Sullivan. I'll get away teams on those two vessels, and you can beam your people back. We'll take care of these two vessels and hand them back to Starfleet Command and ship tight and wrapped with a bow. Anything else?
That's all gallantry. Thanks, and Salvin out.
Gallantry out. And with that, the view screen goes blank, ink, and the Gallantry moves off and begins beaming people up and down. At that, your away teams can beam back to your ship. And after a few minutes of setting things up, the three ships warp out in tandem.
I'll call a senior staff meeting for, I guess, the next day and give everybody 12 hours off because we've been going for a while.
You definitely have. Any course setting, or just make our way back to the Paulson Nebula?
Station keeping, I think.
Very well, Captain. Captain Elder, go ahead and give me a presence command and difficulty 2 to have your crew stand down and take a 12-hour rest.
I mean, am I persuading them or what?
I'll take persuasion.
Okay, take a threat.
Yeah, this is more of like creating an advantage of a well-rested crew because you have been going hard.
I rerolled 2, one with bargain, one with bold.
Okay, and that works. You gain a momentum, and the crew, who in general, kind of take the chance to go over systems, run some deeper scans, kind of get the ship back in shape and get themselves back in shape. In the meantime, what does the command and crew do? You have 12 hours off. You have full access to a Federation database if there's things you want to look up or if there's upgrades you wanted to do.
I definitely want to research Nuskin vessels with cloaking devices.
Okay, and you'll be doing this by talking up your friends at Starbase 137.
Yes.
Hmm. Go ahead and give me a. Since you're talking to people, let's say presence, either command or engineering, as you're just talking to them about the possibility of Noskin vessels with cloak. Oh, who would they get it from? And just kind of doing that at Starfleet, a starboard or chats.
If just had a thought before I do that, and can I analyze the logs to try to get an idea of possibly what what people's technology the cloaking signature favors. Iconian, Romulan, etc.
Yes, that will be reason, security, or engineering. In difficulty 4. Assisted by ships, computers, or security or engineering. As you're basically just taking the scans and cross-referencing them with previous systems.
I'll buy one die with
With threat or momentum.
momentum.
Okay. One die. And any focuses that could apply?
Let's see. Starship power systems, impulse and warp propulsion systems, transporters and replicators. Starship power systems, maybe.
At increased complication. Assisted by ship's computer engineering. Excellent. You've seen this before. This is definitely a known enemy of the Empire. They've been in kind of battering around for a couple 100 years now. Now you're kind of familiar with their energy signature, but yeah, to kind of remove that energy signature from Noskin vessels. But it kind of looks like a Romulan design. An older one, but definitely Romulan.
Now I will reach out to my contact at Starbase 157.
Presence,
So,
presence command or engineering difficulty 1.
okay.
Now that you have something to go off of.
Got one.
Excellent. And with that, you've kind of asked around some of your old guys from the space dock, from the engineering crews. They haven't heard anything about this, about cloaking in Noskin ships. They know that Romulans use cloak, but they're extraordinarily secretive about it. In fact, Benjamin Sisko had to twist the Romulan's arms in order to get at the cloaking device on the Defiant. So it's highly unlikely that uh, they will give up that technology to the Noskins, at least not willingly. But given the similar power systems, they are cross-compatible. So either they stole it, or the Romulans have a leak somewhere. But otherwise, they have no particular leads, and they haven't heard anything about it.
Very well. Thank you very much.
All right, that is Maddox. Calder, what are you doing for the next 12 hours?
I think I'll have some me time on the holodeck. All I've been doing is doing drills and stuff. Getting the security crew up to spec, stuff like that.
Okay.
So let's do a holodeck to kind of calmly train my detective skills.
Interesting. Any particular program you're running? Or is it just like simulations of hey, here's a mystery, solve the mystery in X amount of time, or is there a specific simulation that you're going for?
Let's do uh, the first, because if I'm doing a specific one, then I'd already probably know the end.
Okay. So, these are just like quick 15-minute hey, solve a mystery, here's a randomly generated scenario and try to solve it. So, not so much role playing, but definitely focus on the solving the mystery skills.
Yep.
Go ahead and give me a reason security difficulty 2. Skills difficulty 2 to brush up on your skills. And this will represent an advantage of uh, being able to do detective work more easy because you have those techniques kind of in the front of your mind.
Do we have any momentum?
We do not. And actually, the ship will help with computer security, as it's like actively trying to help you here.
Okay.
And you get it. So Calder has the advantage of has an advantage on detective work. And you also want to do some crew training. Actually, yeah, in 12 hours you don't quite have enough time to do the holodeck and sleep and do all the other things.
Okay.
But you can order them to run drills. They'll just be running drills in the background, and not have you like on top of them and training them.
That sounds good.
Okay. Up next, Ensign Archer. Ships at station keeping. This is like the easiest part of the helmsman job.
Are you wondering what I'm doing?
Yep. You have 12 hours off before a senior staff meeting. Is there anything you want to look up? Something you want to brush up on? Do some R&R? There's one holodeck's been used, but there's another holodeck.
Looking up the Iconian technology that was on the SS Spirit of Discovery.
Okay. Just want to try to rope someone else in on this? Get some help from Tolek or Sullivan?
Yeah, I'd be willing to help you out with that.
Okay, Sullivan can help me.
Okay. And what specifically are you looking for?
What the Iconian technology does.
Specifically the parts that was picked up by Dr. Velcros.
Correct.
Okay. You don't have them anymore, but you do have some sensor logs. Reason and science difficulty 4 assisted by computer science. And any focuses that could apply.
Would sensor imaging or experimental technology apply?
I would take sensor imaging, as you're essentially taking the sensor imagery and trying to figure it out. And Sullivan, you can assist. Or if you want to switch it up and have Sullivan take the lead and Archer assist.
Sullivan, what's your total reason science?
I believe it's pretty dang high. 15.
You take the lead.
Okay. I'm going to guess I won't be able to use any of my focuses on this. I don't exactly have any specializations in ancient Iconian technology. What are reason science? What am I going against?
Difficulty 4. Assisted by Archer and assisted by ship's computer science.
I'd like to use momentum anyway. Actually, can I get threat for that?
Yeah, we could do threat.
Yeah, give us threat.
1 threat, 2 threat?
2 would not bump me up to a 4, would it?
No, it would have to be 3.
Alright, just give me 2. No, give me 1.
1? Alright. One threat generated.
Oh, nice.
Very nice. So that is 2 momentum.
Yeah, I did a bit of studying in my spare time before I got back onto the Svalinn. Uh, I just remembered the story coming out a few years ago and decided to do a bunch of stuff. So, what is this?
Um, you're again. This is all highly theoretical, but very possibly these are Iconian databanks.
Right, we knew that they were some sort of computer hardware. Anything specific on what they might contain?
With that at roll, you could guess as that these could be a cartography information, sort of
So,
like a general map of Iconian space.
considering that they supposedly spanned the galaxy, that could actually give us a lot of information on if they had any neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I turned to what's your name?
Archer.
I turned Archer. The precursors, they wouldn't have happened to be around the same age as the Iconians, right? You probably know more about this than I do.
Reason science difficulty 1.
For
Or
me or for
uh
me or for Archer?
for anyone. Or I could answer that for 1 momentum.
I'll roll it.
All right. Yes, they were contemporaries of each other.
Okay. Interesting. So let's say in theory, Iconian technology is found on a planet suspected to be influenced by the precursors. Has Iconian technology ever been found in that area?
So far, Iconian technology has only been confirmed to have been found on 2 planets. One is Iconia itself in Romulan space. The other one is actually in the Gamma Quadrant, where some Jem'Hadar are found a gateway and broke off.
And of course, our most recent stuff.
Which you would actually have a location tag for it.
Okay. What do you mean by location tag?
Just a tag of hey, this is where I found this, which would
Alright,
be
where's
something
that?
that Dr. Vicaros would need. Um, we are on the fleet map. She actually found it on a deserted world just south of the Hormy cluster. So between Federation space and the Klingon border.
Okay, that might be worth investigating later.
hmm it names a specific planet, but it's not a planet on the map because it's a dead system. That it doesn't have any life on it, and no M class ass worlds.
Right, right.
But your star chart does say, hey, it's definitely there.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, I'm okay.
Archer, anything else?
Well, she would probably later head to the holodeck for a sort of sensory deprivation therapy that she does. But that's not really interesting to describe.
Oh, Sullivan, you do have a personal letter.
I do.
Yes, I will send that to you right now.
Okay.
As soon as I find you. Okay, there's that. Tolek. Yeah.
Yes.
You have 12 hours till the next mission, or till a senior staff meeting. Enough time to get a little bit of R&R, do some research, work on something, and get a good night's rest. Or whatever passes for rest for Vulcan.
It's probably a lot of meditating. I will. Let me see. Interesting. I will research all known cloaking device signatures. And perhaps hypothesize different power, how different power sources might affect those signatures.
So, like, if you used a Romulan cloaking device, I guess with a Noskin system, how would that look? Or if we use it with another Earth system.
Yes. And then try and draw correlations or theories based on power sources that we don't commonly know of as being used.
Okay. As this is just a quick rundown, this will be a reason science or reason engineering difficulty 3. Assisted by ship's computers, there's engineering or science.
Arg, Discord's being a bitch. Alright, I almost got to what was the complication range for that check?
Complication range 1.
1, okay.
assisted by ship's computer science.
Anybody got that?
Yeah, I'll get it. Ship's what?
Computer science. All right. You have a general idea of what it would look like, what it would take. This was not. It used to be that Ramen and cloaking devices are very plug and play, like back in Kirk's era, but they're a little bit more integrated in now. If they're the standard plug and play, there is a known weakness as you can look for. A subspace wake that you can and scan for that you don't normally look for, but if there's cloak vessels nearby, you can and look for that. If it's the more integrated one, the subspace ace wake weakness is no longer there. But that would also mean that the Nausicaans have been working at this for a very, very long time, and they kind of built these into their ships over the course of months.
Interesting. I will file that all into a neat report on cloaking signatures for known vessels and theorized signatures for vessels, and I will make sure I submit a copy to the captain.
Excellent.
And then I will meditate and rest.
And I believe that's everyone. Captain Elder, was there something in specific you wanted to do in your off hours?
I'll take the time to go over reports of what the rest of the fleet is doing, and then just rest for the rest of it.
Okay. So, just spending time with yourself, reading reports.
Yeah.
Excellent. 12 hours come and go. Everyone and has a lot of research on their pads loaded up. And you begin in your debriefing. Well, I suppose not debriefing, but actual briefing.
Yeah, the information is going the other way.
Yes. As everyone goes into the conference room, and you have the floor.
Now that we've gotten rid of our small little fleet and all of the prisoners that were on board those ship, I think we should and we have a responsibility to go investigate those Nausicaan vessels, as they're still out here somewhere. And they look intent on causing problems, while the threat of the vessel hiding out in the Paulson Nebula is more theoretical than actionable at this point.
Theoretical, yes, but I think it would still be worth investigating.
I do too, but I think the Nausicaans present a greater threat to trade and Starfleet citizens in the area.
Do you think they could be related?
I don't have any evidence either way. All right. If no one has any objections to that, then
Is there any way we can investigate it anyway?
investigate what?
The ship.
The one in the nebula?
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as we handle the Nausicaans, we could turn around and go back. We'll have to figure out a new way to find them. As we've kind of given up our plan of stealth when those Nausicaan vessels got too close. They ruined any chance at surprise we had if they are connected.
In that case, I actually think it would be a good idea to head there as soon as possible. If that's the case, we need to make sure that we get there before they could possibly leave.
GM, quick thing.
Yes.
Is there a way to spend momentum to say that we grab like the ship signatures from the Nausicaan cruiser that we're trying to find scan signatures from the knife wound, so at least we know what we're looking for with the ship scanners.
So have the database have the ship signatures of the two cruisers that attacked you?
Thinking more of the other Nausicaan cruiser, the one with the mystery thing.
Yeah, you already have that.
Oh.
You don't have detailed scans because, as it's been seen from like light years away by passing starships or like the transport cruiser that gets too close.
Well, I'm like at least know that the scanners know what they're looking for.
Yeah, you already have that advantage.
Oh, okay, that's good. The better we deal with the Nausicaan cruiser now, the better, because the Iconian stuff isn't going anywhere.
Well, the Iconian stuff is going somewhere. It's going back to Vulcan very slowly, but Does anyone else have any ideas?
Captain, I've analyzed the scans that we captured from looking signature of the Gnostic ships. I believe that the units they're using are older Romulan cloaking devices. May be able to find a way to turn that to our advantage.
Where would you get Romulan cloaking devices? Beyond, would they be buying them from someone who happens to have a large stock?
Could we sell old warbirds?
Why would you only sell the cloaking device and not the whole ship if you're getting rid of those?
It's damaged or at a small Romulan vessel or something.
Well, a, a modern Nausicaan cruiser with an older Romulan cloak is much more effective than a older Romulan ship with an older Romulan cloak in combat.
But that leaves the issue of who's selling.
I don't imagine there's much that leaves Romulan space without at least one high-ranking Romulan knowing about it. And it's very unlikely that anything leaves Romulan territory without someone in the Tal Shiar knowing about it.
Is there any way we can look at the records of purchases, maybe check the history of the cloaking device?
You would have to get a hold of the cloaking device and get a serial number off it, which, you know, pirates, they might have just scraped that off. But if you can get a hold of it, you'll have a much better chance of finding it.
In that case, it might be worth looking into some black market, looking into local black market areas, in particular, old cloaking devices.
While I do agree that we might have spooked the vessel in the nebula, like the nurse said, and they may leave, or the doctor said, and they may leave soon. I think we have to deal with the Nausicaan cruisers first, because they do actually present a clear and present threat to vessels in the area, where the other ship, although it is a threat, is not actively. I don't have reason to believe they're actively trying to kill people. Once we get the cloaks, then maybe we will go handle the nebula matter, and that'll give the engineer time to look over the cloaks and see if he can figure any information. Hopefully they'll still be in the nebula. If not, we may have to go to investigate some local private stations or planets to learn information about both the cloaks and the vessel that's in the nebula if it leaves.
I mean, the transport we're currently on a timing because I'm guessing now they know that the ship that they're waiting for is now compromised. They might just pack up and leave as soon as those two crews make contact with their boss.
We don't completely know that they're connected yet, so we can't guarantee that them spotting us has cost us our cover. but it's not unreasonable to assume that they might be working together. And I'd be more worried about them, except that we have what they're looking for. And since they can't get what they're looking for, they're probably not going to be a threat until they do, and they'd have to come to us to get it. And Tolek, you said you found a flaw that we can exploit to track them?
Yes, sir. If it is one of the older cloaking devices that the Nausicaans have been using, there is a distinct subspace signature that can be tracked. And I believe they are using the older style cloaking devices.
Alright, Ensign Archer, let's lay in a search pattern back to where we met them, and then back the direction they came.
Captain, give me a real quick insight, command or con difficulty 1. There's one lead that you're overlooking.
Take a threat.
Gain a momentum. If the Romulan and cloaking devices are being used outside of Romulan space without Romulan know, the Romulans would be really, really interested in knowing that. And there might be enough diplomatic ties that you could just straight up ask the Romulan government for help in this.
I don't know what everybody else thinks, but I don't like the idea of involving the Romulans in anything, because normally they just cause problems. Like, they want to do things their way, they don't want to work with you, and if the wrong people in the Empire learn what we know, then they'll just send some vessel across with a cloak and get all mixed up in our business.
What about the
I
Klingons,
agree on
Captain?
involving the Empire, but there might be some way we could use some sort of resource we have in there to check. Maybe someone who works at the embassy?
So go through like official diplomatic quarters to get information.
Right. We might not have. We don't call up the Empire directly and say, "Hey, we found your stuff," but maybe find someone who has more contact and is frankly more able to talk to them.
What about the Klingons?
I feel like that might be worse.
Well, we're at least nominal allies with the Klingons.
Not nominal. There's some weird stuff going on with the Kismet, but I think that's been mostly resolved.
Yeah, especially Yeah, and telling the Empire, hey, Romulans have been. We have found potential evidence of Romulans giving cloaking devices to pirates. I, I think I know Klingon intelligence divisions exist, and they can be subtle, but I doubt that going directly through diplomatic channels would be able to do it.
No, and Romulans and Klingons get along on as well as fire and gasoline.
And Romulans and humans, let's be honest.
So would that not make the Klingons most likely to want to lend a hand in this matter?
Well, they're more likely to throw gasoline on a fire. Like,
Yeah. Diplomatically, if the Klingons find out that the Romulans have been giving out cloaks to pirates, the Klingon response will most likely be just attack the Romulan Empire for such underhanded tactics.
Do we
I
have
think-
any proof that the Romulans are actually supplying these cloaks, or do we not
We
more
do not.
suspect that they've been stolen?
we don't have any info.
Yeah, you don't know
Oh, we
either direction,
We know that they're Romulan cloaks. That's about it.
but you don't
Yeah,
know how they're being sourced, if they're being stolen off old craft or if they're being sold to them.
I think
Would it not
if we
be
go
reasonable
by-
to assume that if the Romulans did not want people to find out that other ships were being outfitted with their cloaks, they would supply them with the newer versions that can't be tracked?
well, that may be more expensive or difficult.
There's still the chance of them just being lucky and finding salvaging them from old warbirds.
Yeah, I mean, we know. I don't think we know how old they are, do we? Do we know if they're like 22nd century or 23rd century or 24th century tech? Is that something that Oleg could spend a momentum for, or is that too detailed? Because if he knows the flaw, he might know like which version of it had that flaw.
Yeah, I'll take a momentum spend and for that information, if you'd
Yeah,
like.
because
Yeah,
if it's
yeah,
from
give
like
her-
the 2150s, then it might be from a warbird that was in Federation space from the war.
This was late 23rd, early 24th century. A technology when they phased this out.
That's Cold War territory. We don't have. I don't think we had any contact with them in that period.
Nope. They
Yeah,
that was
No,
in Cold War, because
Yeah.
after Balance of Terror up to TNG, the Romulans went cold. And this cloak was from the Cold War or era, and they upgraded their air tech before, or the Enterprise D ran into them again.
So this, yeah. So we don't. This is probably not from a Dedyrdex. This is probably from a warbird.
Yep. Fair assessment.
Do we
I
know
think
any-
the most powerful position we could be in is if we can hunt them down and get a hold of the cloaks ourselves, then we hold all the cards if we need to deal with the Romulans directly.
yeah.
If we tell them beforehand or we tip our hand beforehand, then I think it becomes a race between us and the Romulans who can find them first.
Yeah, all we need is at least just one cloak. Then I think we would be good. Like at least take one out, then scare off the other one. If you catch my drift, Captain.
fail to see how the captain intercepting a gust of wind directed by you would be helpful in this situation.
That's not my stepmom. We're not gonna call her that.
All right, Ensign Archer, go ahead and set in the search pattern. And Tolek, go ahead and have us scanning for that flaw around the clock.
Captain?
I think the other three of you are free to see to your departments. I don't think we have anything specific needed from engineering, security, or medical right now.
To make that scan, would I be utilizing sensor sweep?
Mechanically, yes, you'd be utilizing a center sweep. You would be getting an advantage from Archer, or if he can lay in a good search pattern for that.
And don't we also remove one difficulty?
Yep, from your advanced sensors.
All right, let's get to it.
And with that, your meeting is dismissed. So, you're going to be doing a standard search pattern from your current location back to the Orion battle site, and then further on to trace back where the Nautican cruisers might have come from and gone.
Yeah, that was generally my idea, was to basically scan back from where we came to and then follow back where they came from.
Okay. Ensign Archer, give me a control contest difficulty E2 assisted by ship's engine con as you lay in a search pattern.
I assume sensor imaging would work.
Or flight control. Alright. As you guide the ship very deftly through space, you lay in a standard search pattern, and sweeping back and forth. Commander Tolek, we're doing a sensor sweep, which normally starts at difficulty 3, I believe. Let me double check this. Difficulty E0. I'm gonna say, because you're looking for cloaked vessels, that's gonna be up to difficulty E4. But with the search pattern and the knowledge of the subspace ace wake and your advanced and sensors, that brings it down to difficulty 1. As you're just stacking the odds in your favor.
Spend a momentum for a dice.
And you're assisted by ship's sensor science.
Anybody else got that?
I got it.
Okay.
Excellent. 2 momentum. As you catch an ion on trail that is specifically a Nausicaans. It took a little while because as they didn't actually chase you that far away. But once you got to the initial battle site, there was definitely an ion trail, and it's going back the heading they came from. Uh, 127 Mark 34. And it's heading straight back into the Paulson Nebula.
Well, I mean, that starts to lend credit to the doctor's theory. So we've actually found them.
You found their ion on trail. It's decayed over 12 hours, but it's definitely there of them warping out from that sector, and it seems to be leading straight to Paulson Nebula. But once the trail gets into Paulson Nebula, it runs into a nebula, and the nebula scrubs the ion trail clean, just from the currents and eddies, just washing everything out. So what's next?
I think we should keep scanning for the cloak in the nebula if we can. That's all we have to go on.
All right. Welcome to the Paulson and Nebula. As you slowly breach the clouds. This is a Class 2 nebula that will affect sensors, engines, and weapons. As the thick haze of ionic gases is just kind of makes those tasks a little more difficult. But as you breach the cloud, let's do a general sensor scan of what's inside the cloud. Oh, difficulty. I'm gonna uh, spend one. Normally it'd be difficulty E2. Spend and to make that difficulty 3, and your sensors bring it back down to difficulty 2. So difficulty 2, science, reason science with sensor science.
Is that me?
That will be you. Alright, so gain 1 momentum. there's also some isolated pockets of ionic storms. Those would be things to avoid. As one, two, three interesting blips and a hazard warning and comes up.
Quick thing, GM. Is there a way for me to recalibrate the weapons to compensate for the nebula?
Not so quickly. No, that'll be a full overhaul to compensate for them.
Okay.
And also, while in here, or you can go to warp, but it's not suggested you go over warp 3. But yeah, I have 3 interesting blips on the map. There's chunks of asteroids about, and this red alert symbol here, that is a area of high radiation and ionic energy. So the sensors flag it as please don't go here. But to get a better detail of what the 3 blips are, you're going to have to get closer and do a more detailed scan.
I think let's just go in a semicircle.
Alright, so go for the top one first.
Yeah, I think so.
And I'm not in the right layer. There we are. Archer, Control Con, difficulty 2, assisted by ship's engine con. As you try to navigate your way through this nebula. Oof. Yeah, you haven't done close maneuvers like this in a long while, and not in a starship as big as the Sullivan. You did training runs in shuttlecraft, so you're a little. It's a little touch and go there for a little bit, and it takes you a lot longer to get there than you would like.
I'm also tired from my room being under the Busan collectors.
That's also a thing. As such, being a nebula, things kind of drift around. But you make it to the first sector. To get a detailed scan of this pocket of gas, science, that'll be reason science, difficulty, normally 2, with the nebula, that'd be up to 4, with your sensors, difficulty 3, to get a real detailed scan and of this anomaly now that you're up close and personal.
Am I the one rolling, or is Tolek?
That'd be Tolek.
Very good. What are we rolling here?
Reason Science, difficulty 3, assisted by ship's sensor science.
So that makes complication ranges 3?
Does complication range go up in nebulas?
Not unless you said it to.
Nope. Oh, complication range is standard, or just the difficulty
Which is
goes up.
1?
Yep, complication range is 1.
Okay, I was confusing the complication range for the difficulty. I will take a momentum for dice.
All right.
I'll roll for the ship.
It'll be the top one. I double clicked.
Okay. And the ship roll? 5, so 5, so you gain 2 momentum. And 1 sensor report coming up. Sensor report sent. Tolek, check your messages.
Very good. Interesting. Analysis of that report.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Analysis of that report.
Yeah, it's very doubtful that they're hiding out here.
Relay that info to the captain.
Just gonna forward it to his chair.
All right. Alright, then Ensign, move us on to the next point of interest.
As I accidentally move the entire map. Archer again, and Control Con on difficulty E2, assisted by Ship's Engine Con. Gain a momentum. If you want to spend 2 momentum, you can, and use that to make up for lost time. I mean your search pattern, which could prevent bad things from happening later.
That sounds helpful.
Yes, it does.
I don't know, just if you want to use is this good roll to make up for the lost time of your last roll. All right. So now that you've kind of recalibrated yourself and like, okay, this is how we fly. You've made up for our lost time. As suddenly radiation and alarms start going off.
Shields up.
Shields are up. Doctor, I need a reason medicine roll, difficulty E1.
Got it. I'm guessing immunology won't help here.
No, but something with radiation or triage.
Emergency medicine, maybe?
I'll take it.
Yay!
Yay! The entire airship got hit by a stray gamma burst from one of the nearby stars.
I mean, yay, but, you know, I passed.
Yay! A quick round of... Actually, let's make this as interesting. There are some members of the crew that have acute radiation sickness, but it's the 21st century. You can bring him to the sick bay, a couple hypo sprays, and maybe some rest, and they'll be good to go.
Yeah, would it be anything worth rolling over?
I am checking really quick. Hold on. One of these sheets. Let's see, there's 6 players. Yourself, Captain Elder, and Commander Tolok have acute radiation sickness,
Okay.
increasing the Yep. So this will increase all physical tasks by difficulty of 1 until treated.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to, break out some hyposprays. I'm assuming that I won't stop feeling the effects until after this session, though.
Yeah. I mean, you would still have the complication from it of all physical tasks, but you know,
Gotcha.
if it goes untreated, but otherwise to administer the radiation treatment to the key players. Let's see, there's 3. One of them's yourself. So, control medicine and difficulty 4. I'm gonna increase the complication by 1.
Wait. Difficulty 4?
Wait, that's no, it's 2. I
Okay.
miscounted. It's not that difficult.
I'll spend momentum for this.
Just 1?
Yeah, just one.
Okay. And gain it back. As there's a little bit of a scare there as a gamma ray grazes over your ship, but everyone manages to make it okay.
I'm pretty sure we can still have kids after this. Don't worry, Captain.
And onto the sensor analysis of this blip. Reason science and difficulty 3. Assisted by ship's sensor science.
Repeat that, please.
Now to scan this sensor blip, that would be reason science and difficulty 3, assisted by ship's sensor science.
Okay, I'm guessing you don't want me to do that.
I think it's Tolek.
Yep, I'll take a momentum for a dice.
Okay. 1 momentum.
Holy shoot.
Uh-oh. As you're scanning the sensors, you're not quite sure or what you're looking at. There's a lot of interference. When suddenly that's ionic discharges is going off around your ship. You're caught in a ionic storm. which means we're gonna need some evasive actions to get out.
What would I roll to get us out?
That would be control con on difficulty. Actually, this would be an extended task. Control con. Diff 3. By ships. Alright, and each individual you take to complete it, the ship will be taking a lightning strike, which will cause damage. So the sooner you can complete this track, the better. And if anyone else has ways they can assist with this.
Shield modulation.
Shield modulation would definitely work.
Well, how many breakthroughs are there?
3.
How many? Okay.
3 breakthroughs required.
And I'm guessing I'll just use the stuff in Modular Shield, which is control security, and I get assistance by structure engineering.
Difficulty 2. Resistance +1 for each momentum. Yeah, that'll work. If you can modulate the shields, that will gain you resistance to any damage you will take.
I will spend a momentum for an extra dice.
Okay.
Does anything counteract ionic energy?
Giving a ground, something to ground to besides your ship.
Could we artificially generate like a grounding shockwave?
Possibly.
Are we able to track when the lightning strikes are going to hit?
Not really. They're random, and I'm just gonna take that complication as threat. But the shields do modulate they have +1 resistance if you want to spend momentum to. Oh, and you also gain a momentum from rolling over.
I think I'll use that extra momentum to increase the resistance.
Okay, so it's +1, so shields +2, resistance.
Could we program the ship to emit grounding shock waves in an effort to further increase resistance?
I'm gonna say you don't quite have time I'm to get that done. But Archer, go ahead and give me your first con roll.
I'll take a momentum.
Okay. Assisted by ship's engine con. Gain 2 momentum. Go ahead and roll 2 plus your con roll and work. And challenge dice. So your con score is 4, so you'd be rolling 6 challenge dice altogether.
I have a quick question. What does push the limits do?
It makes it it reduces the difficulty to navigate in difficult circumstances by 1. So if the ship's engines have been damaged or the terrain is difficult, it reduces the difficulty to navigate by 1.
And that would apply here, because this is a situation that's difficult to navigate. So
1 more momentum.
1 more momentum, so you have a total of 4 momentum. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 work done out of 13. 6 work. 6 works down, 2 breakthroughs. And 1, 2, 3, 4. As a lightning strike hits the ship,
But does no damage. Because I think he bumped our resistance up to 6. From 4 to 6, I think.
Yes.
You did, because I forgot about the ship scale there for a second. So yeah, your ship is rocked, but your shields hold and there's no immediate damage.
Would I have to modulate the shield again for next time?
Yeah, if you take damage, it goes away.
But
Okay.
but we didn't take damage, so it still holds.
I say take damage. I'm not sure if it actually has to take damage. You just have to get hit. You'd have to look at the rules.
Let's see. Last until next time ship takes damage after resistance.
After
Oh,
okay,
if it's after resistance, then you didn't take any.
yeah, we didn't take any damage. So, your shield modulation still holds. Was there something anyone else wanted to do?
I don't think so. He'll be able to get us out of it in this roll.
All right, Archer. Once more into the breach. So this is Control Con, difficulty 2. Because of push the limits, difficulty 1. Two momentum and 6 challenge dice.
Use a moment. Wait, do we get a breakthrough?
We get 1. Spend 1 momentum, and we're finished.
Yep.
I'll spend the momentum.
1 momentum, you're finished, and you're clear of the storm. Without taking any damage.
You're welcome.
Quick thinking to modulate the shields. Very nice. So that has been dealt with, and we're out of the combat music and back to the Nebula music. Are your shields still up?
Yes.
All right. As we have one more or anomaly to get to.
See, I think if we wanted to be cheeky, we would just go ahead and bombard the last one with torpedoes from here, but I don't think that would be the Starfleet way.
No, that would generate a lot of threat. All right. And Ensign and Archer control Ocon on difficulty 2 to navigate to the final blip. At least the final interesting blip.
I think I'll use a momentum.
Okay. Assisted by ship's engine con. And you make it to this new blip, and there is a mini star system here.
Huh.
It is very young. The star is, if you can even call it that, is a protostar, and very active. But yeah, there's definitely planets. It's forming here. And some interesting blips on the sensors. So, Tolik, if you want to give me a sensor scan, difficulty, reason science, difficulty 2, assisted by ship's sensor science, bring it down to difficulty 1.
Alright. Spend momentum for a dice.
Alright. Three momentum M generated. Well, I mean, that's kind of what stars do. They're born in nebula. The farthest planet and it out is a class SJ gas giant, plenty of moons, some of them geologically active, nothing too interesting. The closest planet is a class-wide demon world full of radiation, hot gas, boiling temperatures, great place for a vacation. Interesting enough, this planet is Class D, essentially a great rock in space, but there's signs of an artificial habitat beneath the surface. There's power signatures, and you can detect oxygen-nitrogen atmosphere, M-class S environment, and gravity generators to make it approximately a 1G.
Could this be like if I was a Batman, I'd bet that might be a pirate base.
Let's scan for signs of starship activity.
Very well. Reason science in difficulty A2 brought down to 1 by ship's sensor science. As you're looking specifically for starship activity.
Momentum for a dice.
Absolutely. As you have one float. There are a couple ion on trails of ships, but they're scant and look like they're just passing through, and nothing like specifically heading to that environment. But with transporters, you don't exactly have to get close and dock, so yeah. For one momentum, I can give you more. Well, you have one free question, and anyways, and then for any additional momentum, I can answer more questions.
Do the ionic trails match any of the signatures we are looking to track?
Not specifically, no. They're close, but not exact matches.
Can we scan the trails to identify specifically what they are?
Yep, for the float. They seem to be of various special classes. Some of them are some Nautical cruisers, but not the specific ones you're tracing. Some of them seem to be other various ships. Some newer, some older.
Commander Tolek, can you get a strong enough signal of the place to be able to beam someone or something down there?
Can I?
You would have to get closer, but yes.
I have a suggestion. Instead of us suggesting detection by getting close to.
Sorry
to
about
the,
that. What did I miss?
Nothing. We found a small colony thing. On a what class of planet? B class.
D class.
Yeah, I thought I heard.
Yeah, it's a D class world. So this is like something on the moon, and there's an artificial environment underneath the surface.
Wouldn't it be safer to just use one of our shuttlecraft to get there? Without them noticing that a Federation vessel is here?
I mean, you could, but yeah, from what your sensors can intel, you're not sure if there's a dock on the other side. But shuttles do have transporters, so there's that.
Captain to the doctor. Do we have the doctor?
Dr. Sullivan?
You have me. Sorry.
Okay. Doctor, if you worked with the engineer and the industrial replicators, how long do you think it would take to generate containers that contain anesthetine with enough to fill a small cavern?
GM, how long do you think that would take?
Given the approximate volume, maybe about 2 hours.
4 hours. I could probably get it done in 4.
Okay, coordinate with the engineer and get those made. And let me know when you're done.
Got it, Captain.
Oh, wait, never mind. I gotta call the engineer anyways, because he's probably gonna be the one doing the Captain to Commander Maddox.
Go ahead, sir.
The doctor's gonna work with you on generating anesthetine in containers for it. They'll need the ability to be dispersed on a timer or remotely. And I'll need you to hook the transporters up so we can beam all of the containers at once, or as rapidly as possible.
Sir. Use the emergency transporter pad, perhaps.
Use those. Use the pads and the shuttles if you have to. Surprise will be a big part of this working.
Knowledge.
Then I'll turn around. Commander Calder, why don't you take Ensign Archer and a security team and stand by once we gas the place. It'll be your job to solve any other problems that crop up down.
Yes, Captain.
You can use whatever gear you feel is appropriate.
All right, so we're gearing up. Is the Svalinn and gonna stay on the outer edge of the system, or are you gonna move closer? Captain?
Oh, sorry. Say it again.
Did you want the Svalinn to stay on the outer edge of the system, or did you want to move closer to the planet of question?
I don't think we need to move closer until we're ready.
Okay. So you're staying outside of possible sensor range. Doctor and engineer are creating a nesting gas. Let's go ahead and make this doctor for the nesting gas. That's going to be control medicine difficulty 2. Assisted by ships, because you're using replicator, ship will be helping.
I'll spend a momentum on this. We have 6.
Yep. Computer's medicine for the ship. And 1 momentum. And what are we doing with that complication? Are we quashing the complication, or am I generating threat? Doctor?
Sullivan.
You can generate threat.
Alright. As the gallons and gallons of nesting gas is generated in a bunch of barrels. For the release mechanism, Maddox, give me control engineering in difficulty 2. And did you want this on a timer or remote detonation?
Did it? You know what? I'll ask later.
Would think, since we're attempting to the elements of thinking to detonate on a timer, maybe a few seconds after materialization.
Okay.
Do you agree, Captain?
Yeah, let's set it for a couple of seconds after beaming.
Alright. Control engineering difficulty 2. To set that up. Unfortunately, the timer mechanism's not gonna work. There's just so many different barrels. It'll be hard to sync them all. Oh, but if you want, you can try the remote option.
Yes, let's try that.
Alright, same roll, difficulty 2. There is momentum on the table.
Go ahead and burn one.
One momentum for 1 dice.
There it goes. Oh.
As roll 20s, he's catching up, but you generate 2 momentum. You're up to 6. Anything else you want to do with this? Did you want to set up an encryption for the detonation, or any advantage with it?
I think an encryption would probably be a good idea to make sure it doesn't try to hack in and interfere
Okay.
with it.
2 momentum into encrypt it.
Basically, just use the 2 I just generated.
Yep. And then Calder and Archer. You're gonna be taking a shuttle down to the planet, or are you gonna beam down from the Svalinn?
I'm a con officer. I prefer shuttles. But Calder is the superior officer.
Yep, we hear you. All right, and what gear here did you want to bring? Bunch of type 3 rifles. We could do the body armor again.
Well, I think EVA suits would be more important than body armor.
Yeah. As I make a shuttle really quickly, so we want EVA suits.
Do you want me to come with y'all? And are we sure that this is actually a military operation?
I think we should beam in first to find out if it is, and not a place where people are saying kumbaya.
Yeah, we
Unless
don't
Tazine
want to
does-
accidentally commit a war crime.
Yeah, like, let's not breach a place that probably isn't that. Like, we could beam in like a bit out, so they wouldn't know we're there, stuff like that. Or just stealthily take a shuttle away and just land.
You don't need to like go in guns blazing.
Yeah,
I
I
know.
mean, we're still Starfleet.
Yeah, like, we aren't going in guns blazing. That's why we're not doing the first dropping in the knockout gas. I don't know what what's in those canisters. What it does.
Yeah, it just knocks people out.
like we're not going to like more just a recon of the place to see if it is a pirate facility. Instead of doing a smoke first, ask questions later kind of thing.
Question. Okay. Bit out of character. Starstruck Insurrection. They had those cloaking suits at the beginning of the movie.
I
Can we
don't
acquire
think.
those?
Um,
Think
that'll probably be 2 momentum and per person.
Okay.
I mean, wouldn't it just simple binoculars work, and just us going there at a distance?
I mean, if we can get suits that are basically invisible, we don't need to do any of this. We just send people down. That's not a thing I knew was available. So we should just do that instead.
Yeah, I'm surprised we have stealth suits.
Yeah, stealth suits. It's are used. They're mainly for scientific, anthropological missions. They offer no resistance, but if you can and beam down, it'll be a 2 momentum opportunity cost. But yeah,
So this will just be a 2-person thin beams.
so which 2 people are you sending down?
Me and Sullivan, if she wants to come.
I'll take the risk.
Okay, so that is going to be 4 momentum for 2 stealth suits and maybe 2 binoculars.
Alright, tricorders recover that.
Oh, okay.
And how will you be getting there?
I thought we agreed on beaming. Or is that... Because if we're going with a full-on shuttle...
Yeah, you'll just beam in.
Okay. Very well. And with that, you move the ship up into orbit of Mystery Planet number 2. And we have Sullivan and Calder. In stealth suit technology. And Maddox, we have a transporter roll all to do. You're within transporter range. You're going from one pad. You're not going to a pad, so that's difficulty E3 plus. As you're going through several kilometers of rock. Difficulty 4. Sensors bring it down to diff 3.
I do have a focus on transporters and replicators.
Yep. Assisted by ships. As Kohler and Sullivan, you're in the transporter room. Stealth suits are ready.
I am ready.
Same here.
Now that we're closer, or Tolek, you can get a more detailed scan of the outpost if you want to.
Absolutely.
Reason science difficulty E2. Assisted by ship sensor science, bring it down to difficulty 1.
Do we have no momentum?
You spend it all to outfit the away team with stealth suits.
Archer uses his determination for Spirit of Discovery, giving us 3 momentum.
Excellent. With Archer's can-do aptitude, you now have 3 momentum.
Spend one for a dice.
Assisted by ship sensor science. Spend 1, gain 2 back. With that, you can intel that there's about 3,000 life signs down there, are in a small complex the size of a fairly small town. And you do have and there's definitely power signatures down there, a nuclear fission reactor. Any other questions you would like to ask?
Okay, so a nuclear reactor?
Yep,
A
fission.
nuclear reactor. I know I've said that a few times, but in the future, are we still using nuclear technology on the ground?
It's cheaper. It's cheaper and generally safer than an antimatter. Some star bases still run on fusion. In fact, DS9 I had a fusion in reactor system and didn't have antimatter. I believe ESD does as well. So it's not that uncommon, although usually it's fusion, not fission. But it's not too unheard of, if you don't mind radiation.
Yeah, I'm gonna. So the binoculars, I'm gonna try to look through them to see anything that that I can see that looks military.
You haven't beamed down yet. We were just getting a sensor lock and.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Quick thing, shouldn't we spend one of those momentum we gained to figure out if there's any Nausicaans in this complex to see if this is a pipe facility?
I'll take that as the free science question, if Tolek wants to ask that.
Absolutely.
just as for laws, spending aim 2 threat at the results are inclusive. You can tell that they are humanoid though. You're scanning through like tens of meters of thick rock, so the ability to pick up life signs at all is kind of amazing. Any other questions you want to ask, or did you want to try to find a safe area to beam in at? Because even with the stealth suits, the transporter effect is going to be noticeable.
Would a shuttle be would be less noticeable?
It's the same effect. It makes a sound, and there's a blue curtain that appears out of nowhere. So,
Well, I meant would. Oh yeah, never mind. So maybe scanning again to find a better location to transport.
for one momentum, I'll allow you to have a nice hidey hole that no one seems to be in, so you can transport in safely.
Does that seem reasonable, party?
Should be.
Okay, so you have a place to beam down. You have everything being set up. If I can type sensor. Maddox, we have a control engineering difficulty 3 task brought down to difficulty 2, assisted by ship sensors. There's engineering, and the focus in transporters and replicators will totally apply.
I think I'll use one momentum, an extra dime. On our crew materializing in the middle of rock.
Difficulty 2. Go down with 2 extra momentum. And where's that effect? As your crewmates beam down onto the planet. Your stealth suits are active. You appear in essentially a abandoned, not abandoned, but unoccupied cargo bay with boxes around. And Calder and Sullivan.
Yes.
You materialize in a cargo bay that has various boxes and stuff around. The lights are off, and it seems like there's no one about, but you do hear noises outside.
So first things first is I'm turning on the stealth suit.
I think they're.
Yep.
I think the GM said they were on.
Yep, stealth suits
Okay.
were activated.
Okay. So, do we see any sort of computer terminal?
On the far side of the room, you do see some lights. Possible
Any-
computer terminal.
Alright. I'm invisible, but that doesn't mean I'm undetectable. I'm going to carefully make my way over to that terminal.
Control security difficulty 1. To try to stealth over there.
I'll assist.
Okay.
Control security, you said?
Yep. And any focuses that might apply.
Besides my stealth focus?
Stealth focus would work.
Okay. We really stealthed that time. We stealthed extra good.
Yeah, you stealth extra good. You have 1 float.
Some form of advantage for the terminal.
That would work.
Sure. You can get to the terminal and activate it, no problem. There's just one problem. It is not in standard. It's not a standard LCAR's layout.
I mean, yeah, it's not Federation. We should be expecting that.
Yep.
So, like, can we just not access it because it's not running Windows or something?
No, you can access it. You would just have to translate it or run it through the tricorder.
Doesn't sound too bad.
No.
Yes, it seems easy.
All right. What would you like to look for or in the computer terminal?
Information on what this place is. Just general information, who's leading it, and stuff that should be considered common knowledge for people who work here.
Control engineering. Difficulty E2. Complication range 2.
I'm guessing you have better engineering than I do.
I have a engineering of 4.
Great, you handle this. I'll help.
Any focuses or talents for computers?
Oh, wait, correction. I only have an engineering of 2. I was looking at the long sheet.
You probably still have better than mine.
Okay, so what's the attribute?
Control engineering and any focuses or talents involved in hacking or computer access or
Security systems.
I'll allow it. And also increase its complication range by 1. I spent a threat for that.
I will spend a momentum to add an extra dice.
Alright.
Well, we're off to a roaring start.
Well, you gain 2 momentum. And
squash that complication.
Complication is squashed. As you gain access to the terminal. And surprisingly, this language is not Gnostican.
Okay, what is it?
Unknown language. It's being chewed through the universal translator. but there's like a good minute as your tricorders are trying to process this. And translation and starts coming out of your tricorder.
There, consortium.
Yep.
Would we know what that is?
Never heard of it.
I know what it is. It's an alien consortium.
Okay, let's see if I could find a map.
Sullivan, and we couldn't hear you. Your mic was turned away or something. It lit up. We didn't hear anything.
Now that we know the language, I heard voices outside.
Yep.
I'd like to see if I can get closer to the door and listen.
Control security difficulty 1. All right. You have 1 float. Anything you want to do with it?
Not really sure what I can right now.
Depending on whether the GM might do, maybe hear more of the conversation than.
Okay. I could do that for 2 momentum, and that you sneak especially close so you can hear the total conversation.
So I can bank that momentum and spend another to hear everything?
Yep.
That's what I'll do.
Excellent. As you sneak across the bay and towards the door, or you hear voices on the other side. So it says to the guy, wrecked him, damn near killed him. Ha 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 ha. Come on, man, and be serious. We're on guard duty. Why am I always on guard duty in Cargo Bay 4? It's boring. And there's nothing in particular. It's a couple of guards just chatting to each other.
Okay. So no new information. Like, they have armed guards, but that describes so many spaceports. I'm gonna back away from the door to make sure they can't hear me.
Yep. You do get the feeling that these guys aren't like military. This seems more like a civilian operation. Especially if they're BSing like that. They're not that disciplined.
Right, but then again, I'm not sure, like, Mafia would be so disciplined. I'm going to hail the ship if I can.
Okay, you back away sneakily. That's easy enough, and you hail the ship.
Sullivan to Svalinn? Svalinn? I keep getting it wrong.
Uh,
Svalinn?
Svalinn here.
This is not a Nausicaan base. I'm
What is
honestly
it?
not sure what this place is. My general feeling right now is that this is a civilian operation, but they have armed guards in their cargo bay. Current information is that it's belonging to a group known as the Theric Consortium. Their computers are in a language that at least our records have never shown.
Stand by, and I'll have someone run that name. I'll have Tulek run that name through the computers.
Got it, Captain.
Run that search pattern through the computers.
Yeah, run the name that she gave us through the computers.
You run it through the computers really quickly, and it has not come up. That name doesn't reference any organization or species or government that you're aware of. And in the background, you're kind of hearing more general conversation.
Any chance I could pull more stuff out of the terminal I'm near?
Yeah, absolutely. Reason con difficulty E1. You already have general access. Anything specific you're looking for?
Maybe something like map location of interests.
Yeah, you can and pull up a general map.
Okay.
A general map Ember's pulled up. You see that you are in one of the upper levels, and it is a sprawling maze complex of tunnels. Oh, it's kind of a fractal formation, and almost. It seems very organic. It's not like hard corners or straight lines like humanoids would build. Oh, but it's very organic. And you see a general markers for here's here's supplies, here's the mess hall, all community center, gymnasium, government center. It looks like a map to a city or a small colony.
Could I find any information that could relate with Nausicaans or artifacts?
Control con difficulty 2 to look for those keywords.
You know what? I'm feeling a tad bit crazy, so I'll spend 3 momentum for 4 dice.
Okay.
Complication range 1.
Yep. Gain 1 back. Artifacts you find a couple hits. They're in Cargo Bay 1, deeper in the complex. Gnosticans, nope, no reference tag in any of their computer bases.
I'm going to attempt to try and find Sullivan and tell
I'm
her
gonna move
that
closer to the data.
To the data terminal? Okay, yep. You two can whisper to each other.
Anything you got on our spiky mouthed friends?
nothing, but I did find references to artifacts in Cargo Bay 1.
I mean, that's very general. For all I know, they could be like pots or something. I think we should get out of here. I think right now we're breaking some pretty bad laws and might also be breaking ones that belong to the Federation. I think this is a civilian outfit.
Okay, let's find a corner to hide and then beam out.
As you're looking for that, the door suddenly opens. As the guard goes, as one of the guards, oh come on, you're hearing things. No, oh I swear I heard something. And in walks in a tall, spindly figure, 2 meters as tall, all, and they have large eyes and weird folds around the edges of their cheek, but they are humanoid. And wearing some sort of civilian outfit. As this person looks around, and they seem to have a weapon on their. They have a hand pistol on their belt and a pole arm on their back. But he's not holding any weapons. He's just looking around at this point.
I'm gonna find a place to kind of like hide behind in case infrared vision.
Sullivan, your mic's lighting up. We're not hearing you.
Sorry, I think you cut out for a second.
Yeah.
I said trying to find a place to hide in case of infrared vision.
Yeah, I'll do the same thing, though. They probably would have spotted us by now if they had.
Control security, a difficulty 2 complication 2, as these stealth suits are a bit bulky and rushing to a hiding spot without out rustling anything is kind of awkward. And
I
there's
think I'll spend 1 momentum.
okay.
Well, shit.
Will combat tactics count for a focus?
I'll allow it. Do you have any rerolls or any way to quash that?
2 normal momentum?
That'll quash the complication, but you still fail. I can have you succeed at cost.
You can also
Ooh.
spend determination.
You could
yeah.
spend a determination to reroll.
Yeah, I'll spend a determination to reroll.
Which value are you spending?
Hello?
We hear you.
First one in, last one out. To make sure at least Sullivan has a better chance of getting out first. Hello?
Not thinking that one. But I will take a better to deal with the problem now than later, as you're now dealing with the problem of this security guard finding you.
Yeah, okay.
All right, go ahead and reroll as many dice as you would like.
Let's reroll those 2 zeros.
Go ahead. Excellent. As you hit the deck and dive behind and almost dive roll into a set of boxes, but then your trainer goes, "No, dive rolling looks cool, but it's actually kind of silly," and you just walk over. And Sullivan, control security difficulty 2 roll to find your hiding spot.
I already rolled that and only got 1.
Would I be allowed to use 2 extra momentum to equal to just pull her in my spot?
Yeah, I'll allow that. 2 momentum as Sullivan is diving another direction, but you grab her by the scruff of her uniform and pull her back into a better hiding spot. A little rough handled, but you're safe, and the alien and doesn't seem to notice anything. Come on, Javik. Shift's almost over anyways. And with that, the alien slowly pulls back and closes the door. And you both let off a sigh of relief as the door closes.
I slowly tap my badge, then whisper, "Energize."
Lieutenant Commander Aromatics. Are you with us?
Yes.
Control engineering and difficulty E3 to beam your crew out, assisted by ship's sensors engineering. Bring it down to difficulty 2.
I'll use 1 momentum for 1 die.
All right. Difficulty 2, generate 4 momentum. Very cool. And transporter. As you beam up your 2 crew members, they're materialized, but nothing is seen on the pad as their suits are still on.
Hi, we exist. You didn't beam up nothing, don't worry.
As both of you let out a huge sigh of relief, and you start taking your stealth suits off. As, yeah, you barely managed to escape whatever was down there.
I'd like to speak with the captain for a debrief. We have... I don't think this is what we're after, or at the very least, planting gas bombs is not going to help us get it.
Yeah, I mean, I would retcon that if I could, because the stealth suit's not really in the book, so that didn't occur to me. But I guess we'll just say we're not going to do that.
I'll allow the stealth suits. That's for now.
See, this is what happens when you remember even the mediocre to bad parts of Star Trek.
Oh, Insurrection was not that bad.
It was so aggressively mediocre that I still don't remember Picard's love interest's name. Do you remember he had a love interest in that movie?
Okay, yes.
Because he did.
He did?
I would say it's aggressively mediocre, but at least it's not aggressively heinous.
At least it's better than the previous odd Star Trek movie.
Generations?
I don't even
I'll say
remember
that, yeah.
Insurrection.
But anyway, we
And
can argue about the validity of bad Star Trek movies later.
Yeah, we're on air. Okay, so debrief time.
All I gotta say is Final Frontier.
Anyway. As I walk into the captain's office, I go, that is a civilian outfit. It's, as far as we can tell, it has nothing to do with the Nausicaans. It is staffed by people with wives and families who might in fact live on that base. And quite frankly, I think any attack against it would constitute a minor war crime at best.
Yeah, we should prepare for first contact. Although, I'd probably take umbrage with the claim that there are minor war crimes.
Very true, Captain.
Yeah, we should go down. If nothing else, it won't cost us that much time to make first contact.
Should I get the dress uniform out of storage then?
I think that's only for when they're visiting. I think our ship, not when we're visiting them. Eh,
Ensign Archer does bring up a good point in the Discord. Is this it's actually a first contact situation? Are they warp capable?
Y'all only found one city.
Yeah.
As far as we can tell,
And-
we found a space colony, though.
Yeah, and they had a computer. Like, did it have keys, or was it like an actual like touch screen, like touchpad computer?
It was touchscreen.
I mean, to be
Yeah,
fair,
there's almost no reasonable way to believe that there's one city on a planet that has the ability to use like advanced electronics, and there are no other cities or signs of mining or signs of
Or signs of life, because this is a
Those
Class
are-
D planet.
yeah,
So-
it's a pretty like the only other explanation would be that they were placed here by somebody else.
Well, I mean, couldn't we scan the facility for antimatter or plasma?
plasma and antimatter don't necessarily mean warp travel.
Yeah, because remember there's an episode of Star Trek where like Riker gets that whole makeover thing and gets like in a hospital on a planet, and that's because they already had a warp engine, they just hadn't tested it yet. So it was literally like the test that was the qualification, not just building the warp engine.
But
I think I'll take the flack for that if they're not actually warp capable, because there's enough circumstantial evidence to suggest that they would need to be if they're.
yeah, that is a fair assessment. So feel free to continue.
Can't we?
Um,
I'm trying to think of what stuff can be.
Man,
Like,
it's gonna
can
be
we scan
so
up for warp
weird
capable?
talking to them. Hey, first of all, you should know you're not alone in the universe. Second, can we have your stuff?
why would we want anything from them?
Artifacts.
Yeah, we found.
You found computer references to artifacts. You didn't exactly type in Iconian artifacts or anything specific.
Very true.
Yeah, might be.
Okay. Actually, I think I'm going to take Tolik and Maddox, because there's a slight chance that you or Calder could inadvertently admit that you were already down there, and that could put us on the wrong foot.
That's reasonable.
But once we have like a conversation established with them, and if we decide to stay here, y'all are probably free to come down.
Makes sense.
And yeah, Doctor, if you could, I'm sure you have some expertise in chemistry. If you could synthesize something to make all that anesthacene inert, so we can get rid of.
We could beam it into space.
Well, I mean, I'd hate to get rid of the energy. We could just recycle the energy once we make it inert. I just want it to be
True enough.
inert before we have the engineer crew start playing around with it.
True enough, it should be easy enough. It should be easy enough. I'm pretty sure we have the way to make that on record. And Captain, if I do have a question, why was your first solution to discovering a outpost to place gas on it?
There is circumstantial evidence that they were involved with Nausicaans and piracy, and every ship we've come across has shot at us or shot at someone else out here if it had a Nausicaan crew. And the gas being non-lethal and not having really any known side effects led me to believe that it was the way to go that would prevent the most violence. Also, it was not known to me that that one of the labs on board had those suits that you seem to know we have. I should have the senior staff give me a full briefing on what kinds of more advanced technology we have on board.
Alright, thank you, Captain. And I think we have to do first contact, but other than that, I think we're done. At least for tonight, because it's like 10:30. We've been playing for 3.5 hours.
Are we just going to beam down, or are we going to attempt to communicate with the outpost?
Wait. Quick thing. Maybe have Tolek scan if there are any signs of warp capability, if that's possible.
Yeah, we can make that be the last scan of the night. Assisted by ship sensor science.
I would have spent momentum there.
Yeah. We are coming up on time. You find the fission reactor. They have an advanced computer system. They do have plasma systems, but no indications of any ships, any warp drive, or any antimatter. But there's still the great question of how they got here, because they certainly didn't evolve naturally. In fact, your scans will show that this is definitely an artificial. Yeah, the evidence is clear that this is artificial in nature.
So my guess, the episode ends with us sending a report of the finding of this planet to, like, the possibility of these people have been migrated to this planet, not voluntarily or non-voluntarily.
You don't know yet.
Well, the chance of that, not like.
Yeah. But with that is the end of our episode.